In later life, change becomes an inevitability. Children have grown up and have their own lives. Old friends may have departed one by one. The body is not as strong as it used to be, and the world that once felt familiar now feels like it's moving too fast. In that silence, a feeling often arises that is difficult to explain, a feeling of isolation. The feeling of isolation is not just about physical solitude. It is deeper than merely sitting alone in a quiet living room. It is the feeling that we are no longer connected, that we are forgotten, that our presence no longer matters to the world around us. However, like all feelings in life, this isolation can be explored, understood, and ultimately overcome. With love, awareness, and small, consistent actions, we can recreate meaningful connections, find new meaning in life, and remain an active part of the world. This video is a gentle invitation, a warm embrace for the soul that might feel lonely. Let us explore together the path out of isolation, towards a life that is more meaningful, more connected, and happier in later life. Before we can avoid or overcome the feeling of isolation, we need to get to know it better. What actually makes someone feel isolated in later life? First, there are changes in social roles. When we were younger, we often played various roles as parents, workers, friends, partners, and members of the community. However, when retirement comes and children grow up, these roles begin to fade. We start asking, who am I now? What is my role? Second, there is loss. Losing a life partner, siblings, or peers not only brings sadness, but also reduces our social network. We may no longer have someone to talk to every day, to share laughter with, or simply to sit together in silence. Third, physical limitations and declining health make it difficult for us to participate in social activities. This can cause us to withdraw, not because we don't want to interact, but because we feel unable to. Fourth, rapid changes in technology and society make many seniors feel left behind. The world feels foreign. Young people's conversations are filled with new terms, ways of communicating change, and we find it difficult to keep up. And finally, the feeling that no one needs us anymore. When no one comes asking for advice or help, we feel we are no longer useful. All of this can converge into a piercing sense of loneliness. However, once we recognize its roots, we can begin to cultivate the seeds of solutions. Often, we expect others to come and save us from loneliness. However, the first step to connecting with the world actually starts from within. From the intention and courage to open ourselves up again. Try to engage in a gentle dialogue with yourself. Ask, what do I miss? What kind of connections do I need? What used to make me feel meaningful? Rediscovering the things that make us feel alive is the beginning of everything. Perhaps it's writing, gardening, crafting, or cooking. These small activities can become bridges to reconnect with others. When we rediscover the spirit within ourselves, we radiate an energy that others can feel. We become more open to receiving, and the world begins to respond. It's never too late to build new friendships. This world is still full of souls who are also seeking connection, just like us. Participating in community activities is one of the best ways to expand your social network. Many local communities offer activities specifically for seniors, morning exercises, art classes, reading groups, even computer courses. Being there isn't about ability, but about presence. Sitting, smiling, listening. All of these are the start of connection. Joining religious groups also provides spiritual depth as well as social closeness. When we pray or share the same values, the connection formed is more than just small talk. Technology can also be a bridge, not a wall. Many seniors feel afraid to use smartphones or social media. However, with simple guidance, the digital world can open access to distant family, old friends, and even online communities with shared interests. If you miss talking to someone, consider becoming a volunteer. There are many organisations looking for senior volunteers to read stories to children, accompany hospital patients, or simply be a conversation partner for other seniors. Often, the feeling of isolation comes not because there's no one around, but because we feel that once close relationships have started to drift apart. Reconnect with old friends. Sometimes one phone call can reignite a relationship that has long faded. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. A warm greeting and sharing news can open the door. To family, don't wait for them to reach out. Send a message, wish them a happy birthday, or invite them for lunch. Sometimes, children and grandchildren don't mean to distance themselves. They are just caught up in their busy lives. When we take the initiative, we teach that relationships are a two-way street. Don't be afraid to express your feelings. Say, honestly and lovingly, that you miss closeness. Gentle honesty can be a bridge towards deeper connection. Stable mental health helps us see the world more clearly. The feeling of isolation often worsens when our minds are filled with anxiety, fear, and bitter memories. Light meditation, breathing exercises, or simply sitting in a park while observing nature can bring tranquility. Writing a daily journal can also be a way to channel feelings and observe our emotional patterns. Moving physically, even lightly, is very important. Morning walks, senior exercises, or gardening can circulate energy and foster a sense of fitness. If you feel emotionally burdened, do not hesitate to talk to a professional. Counsellors or psychologists specialising in seniors can help us understand and unravel the burdens in our hearts. One of the keys to avoiding the feeling of isolation is having something to strive for, look forward to, and live for each day. Create a meaningful routine. Perhaps your morning starts with watering plants, then reading the newspaper and writing a letter to a grandchild. Routine provides a sense of stability and control. Challenge yourself with new goals, learning a new language, writing memoirs, or learning to play a musical instrument. An active brain brings vitality to life. Find ways to give. Being a mentor to young people, being a confidant for a neighbour, or simply greeting people with a smile on the street. When we give, we feel needed. And that banishes the feeling of isolation. Happiness doesn't always come in grand forms. It is hidden in small moments. A warm cup of tea, a light conversation with a neighbour, the sound of birds in the morning. Train yourself to be present in the moment. Feel every sip, every step, every gust of wind. These small moments form the rich and meaningful fabric of life. Conclusion. Try to reconnect with the world and yourself. The feeling of isolation in later life is something real and can happen to anyone. However, it is not the end of the story. It can be a gateway to a new journey, towards a deeper understanding of self, of relationships, and of the meaning of life. With the courage to open up, the desire to give, and the spirit to keep learning and loving, we can transform old age into a beautiful and meaningful time. Because within everyone, no matter their age, there's always a light ready to shine and touch the world. And when we touch the world will touch us back. And finally, let us remember one most important thing. That age is not a barrier to feeling connected. That the human heart, however old, still yearns for closeness, attention, and meaning. All of us, wherever we are, in whatever stage of life, have the right to be loved, heard, and embraced. Loneliness is not the end of the journey. It is just a gentle signal that we need to reach out and be reached. Open the door, send a message, look into the eyes of those around you, say their names, listen to their stories, and let them hear your story too. Because what makes life beautiful is not the length of its days, but the depth of the relationships we build within them. At age well, we believe, growing older doesn't mean losing, but finding new ways to live more deeply, more warmly, and more meaningfully. Thank you for being with us today. Don't forget to smile. And if you can, make someone out there feel a little less lonely today. See you in the next video.